Down in the depths of the internet, there's a lot of games. Good ones, bad ones, bewildering ones, and of course, the hidden gems. Let's get hunting. Cynthia Hidden in the Moonshadow, released on April 10th, 2023 by Catchy Games, is a third-person stealth adventure game for PC, Xbox Series X, and Switch. I'm sure the first thing you'll be thinking upon seeing this is it's visually inspired by Breath of the Wild, which it is, but it plays nothing like it. It is stealth like I mentioned earlier, but I'd also say it's part puzzle game and walking simulator. And I don't say walking simulator as an insult. They blend together quite well. You play as a girl named Cynthia on her way home from a long expedition of training to see her lover Hector. But some evil people known as Priests of the North are coming in hot, led by a dude named Isidore to take over the land. Of course, things aren't going so well back at home, and it's up to Cynthia to use her new skills and save everyone. Don't go into this game expecting a staunch stealth affair. This is not Styx. I'm horrible at stealth actually. It's what made me stop playing Breath of the Wild for a while at the Gerudo section. That's how bad I am at the genre. If these guys are facing the opposite way, you can just walk right past them. Unless you get so close you could rub their back. You got the classic eye and sound UI up top to alert you if you're hidden or not. You know, the basics. It does seem like the area of sight the enemies have doesn't take into account height, as I've had it trigger at odd times and look around just to see an enemy that's way below me cry out. This caused no real gameplay issues, as when it happened they were too far away to do anything. Hiding behind barriers is perfectly fine, however, even when the eye is open. There are a variety of other tools at your disposal. Your trusty arrows can be used to hit objects and distract enemies. These regular ones have no effect on enemies, and that's why alongside a bird companion used for distraction, you get a couple more arrow types. One that limits how far they can see, represented by a yellow sphere that extends out. And for the final kind I'll leave for you to discover since it appears so late in the game. There is a very simple crafting system to make these arrows. The game is linear, so it feels extremely unnecessary. You will always have more than enough, and the game is doling out specific ingredients for the situation you'll find yourself in. I won't say it hurts the game, but it adds an extra pointless step. But the most fun method is dropping nets and other objects on top of bad guys when the opportunity arises. That way they are done for instantly. They also make the same "huh?" sound they use when finding you as when hitting an object, and that's quite amusing to me. Huh? I guess that's a decent segue into the voice acting. It's serviceable for the most part, particularly as narration during the levels.
I need to get there to find a path to the temple ruins under the 3 windmills. But the path is blocked by the Priests of the North.
It's surprising this game is voice acting at all. It's just when Cynthia is scared, it sounds more like whining than fear or worry.
Mom? Dad? Mom! Dad! Oh, what happened? No, this can't be true.
Other than that, it's fine. I actually like Isidore's voice. It's corny, yet effective.
If you ever want to see your loved ones again, you will bring the Moonshadow artifact to me. I'll be waiting for you at the hill in the Forgotten Forest. Don't keep me waiting.
Effective. Just as a side note about the footage you're seeing, I was unable to get this game to become 16:9 even when using Steam's launch settings. I have an ultra-wide monitor, and no matter what, this game only stays in the aspect ratio of your monitor, so I'm just cropping it for this video. Unless you're recording footage, I'm sure you're fine at whatever your normal monitor's res is, so it doesn't matter. The dev did reply and confirm there is nothing that can be done when I asked, so they are responsive. But if you're curious of what it looks like in ultra-wide, here you go. The only downside is that some of the options menu can get cut off. Otherwise, it's fine at these resolutions. As for general negatives, the biggest one is that even with the sensitivity all the way up, the camera on controller moves too slow. It's perfectly fine on mouse, but with a controller it's strangely slow. Thankfully the game doesn't require quick movement, so it wasn't a major issue, and I got used to it by the second chapter. Also, the camera can get hung up on objects when readying your bow. Like it will get pushed around by trees or sometimes even tall grass, throwing your aim off. The length might be an issue for some at only 2 to 3 hours. My personal playthrough was 3. It does have some extra collectibles for those who like to 100%, including hidden targets around a level to shoot, journal entries to find, which is how the backstory is told of what happened before Cynthia's arrival. There's cats to pet, and the biggest one, extra costumes to find in chests to dress to your delight. Or maybe the cats are most important? That's up to you. It's extremely well paced, with puzzles to solve and more open spaces to appreciate the visuals between the sneaking. There's even a full photo mode added in for you to fully appreciate nature and Cynthia herself. And don't worry about the puzzles. Some require a bit of thinking, but I wouldn't exactly describe them as brain teasers. Cynthia is a great example of what a single person or two can put out in the modern day. I'm really hoping we get more from this team. The ending does seem to hint at some more to come. With gorgeous visuals, full voice acting, great performance, and cats to pet, I'm left with no choice but to declare this one a hidden gem. Radical Rabbit Stew, released on July 16, 2020 by Pugstorm, is an action puzzle game for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This one way exceeded my expectations. You play as the cleaning boy out to save your chef friends who were abducted by the space rabbits after their queen got sick of eating tasteless veggies. I promise not all of us rabbits are like this. And how is this solved? By knocking those wascally wabbits around stages into stewing pots with your trusty spoon. The trick is there's various bumpers placed around the stage and each pot can only take a single rabbit. So you need to work to navigate yourself and each rabbit around the stage into every pot. The tutorials are done very naturally to ease the player into the game. No big pop-up text boxes, just individual stages intelligently designed around a single aspect to teach you how to play. This game does lean more on the action than the puzzle in the genre name. There's no real head scratchers here. The solutions are usually very straightforward and you'll rely more on your reflexes than your brain. The stages are mixed up by new abilities you earn, like a larger spoon to let you charge up a big hit that can be used not only for smacking fat rabbits, but can launch yourself from bumpers with a full charge to cross big gaps. And don't let the first world fool you. It ramps up in difficulty during the second with plenty of gimmicks to mix things up with more complex puzzle layouts. If you want more of a puzzle challenge, there is blue coins to collect in every stage as well. That requires more thinking to gather. Also, this game has proper boss fights. They are so creative, like a pug in a bunny suit that launches trains at you. There is 2 per world and these completely change the gameplay to keep variety up and provide a decent challenge as well. These became the most memorable parts of the game to me. This game knows its strengths. The controls feel fantastic, completely responsive. Not once did it feel like I was fighting them. The feedback is also enhanced by the fantastic sound design. These are some of the coolest sound effects I've heard since Donkey Kong. They are unique and sound like classic cartoons. Every hit responds with a big oomph. It's got the animation to match that too. The swings have got great smears and anticipations and follow-up with smoke trails and particle effects bursting out. Every move is satisfying. This carries over into its personality. The backgrounds and world maps are full of unique objects. Every character reacts to situations with different expressions. The fat rabbits are surprised after getting hit before going back to sleep. When they land in the pot, their eyes grow wide. There are small touches everywhere you'd easily miss if you're not looking for it. The cutscenes have a bunny cranking the slideshow manually. I could go on all day about the animation and sound honestly. It's just that good. There's also a level editor with Steam Workshop. It didn't have a big audience, so unfortunately there isn't much to play. It also features local multiplayer, but that would require having friends in real life who actually are here to play. So yeah, at only 79 reviews on Steam, this game for sure needs more attention. It goes on sale for $2 to $3 very often. I got 4 hours of playtime. That's very fair in my opinion. Probably longer if you're going for full completion getting the blue coins. The good news is Pugstorm didn't give up. The newest game, Core Keeper, has sold extremely well. I haven't played it, but it's great to see their success. Anyway, for sure check out Radical Rabbit Stew, as it's absolutely a hidden gem. Glyph, released on August 10th, 2021 by Bulwark Games, is a momentum-based 3D platformer for PC and Switch. I adore 3D platformers and this one is masterfully crafted. You play as a scarab named Glyph, exploring a fallen desert empire where the sand has become poisoned by an ancient machine, which effectively makes the sand lava for gameplay purposes. With this game's tight controls, you'll be navigating them in no time, and you're not limited to the ground either. This little scarab can catch a lot of air. Not only can you get momentum by rolling some distance and jumping, that jump can be powered up by glowing blue platforms or rings to get extra jumps, and on top of it, you can glide huge distances. With all that momentum though, landing could get slippery, but this developer added a slam button, which drops you straight down where your reticle shows. This makes platforming ultra tight. That slam technique holds another secret though. If you jump just as Glyph hits the ground, you'll gain tons of height and your glide can even further add to it. You'll quickly master these controls and be making huge leaps across the stages. Everything about the movement just feels amazing. It even has great visual feedback when you make contact with the ground. Glyph lights up in red and when he has a second jump turns blue, so there is no confusion as to what you've got for movement options. And there is still one last skill. You can stick to walls and climb them by tapping A. At first I thought this might get a little game breaking, but no. This only allows even more creativity and movement in stage design. This is honestly one of the best controlling games I've ever experienced in my life. Just moving around these levels brings joy and amazement. It makes you feel like a master doing even the most simple of maneuvers. Reminds me of Marble Blast, but taken to the next level. There's a variety of stages to use these techniques on with unique layouts, even if the graphics are always made up of flat, shaded sand and stone. Some got long roads that curve in distorted ways, bowls you roll in, long pathways. Once in a while you do end up in the clouds for a visual variety. Your primary mission is exploration stages, where you'll have a lot of collectibles to acquire. These are wide open with lots of room to bounce and glide in. There is no timer on you counting down or lives to lose, so you get all the time in the world to perfect your movement to get the coins, gems, and keys. Not all of them are required. The keys you must collect to exit the stage. The coins and gems are used as currency to unlock new levels. There's a lot more of these than needed to open all of them, so no worries. Getting all of them is purely for completionists. Grabbing all the coins in any stage does spawn a fourth kind of collectible, the Golden Scarab, which is exclusively used to unlock time trial levels, which are short romps built around beating the clock. These are a lot of fun and really put your skills to the test to beat set times, which unlocks even more gems for you. And on top of all that, there are unlockable skins and trail effects to dress up Glyph. There's a secret button on all the stages that his friend will give you hints towards. Press that and a collectible will spawn somewhere in the level to grab. It's a classic collectathon. My only complaint is the wait times after dying, which happens a lot in the later levels as the game gets particularly tricky. Upon death, you do lose keys and a collected avatar if you got that. These can get annoying when you've got to roll around a large stage again and again for another shot at a difficult jump. Even with these minor gripes, this is an amazing game. If you have any interest at all in 3D platformers, this is a must-buy. It's only $10 at standard price and goes on sale for $3 or less a lot. So be sure to grab this hidden gem. Pong Quest released on April 21st, 2020 by Checkered Ink and Atari, yes, that Atari, is a Pong RPG hybrid for PC, Switch, and PS4. As weird as the RPG elements sound, they work quite well. Yeah, it has a story, though it's nothing special. The king needs to free various dungeons in his castle that have been taken over by his staff that went crazy. You play as a Pong paddle, which can dress up in a variety of nifty outfits and accessories. You traverse various dungeons where you meet other Pong paddles, many of which challenge you to a match of Pong. What you get is a great remix of the standard game. Both sides get a health bar, and every time the ball is hit back, the paddle loses a health point. Now when yours or the enemy's health hits 0, it's not instant death. The paddle enters a critical state where they move more sluggish, and if the ball goes past, it's a loss. To further add flavor, you've got a variety of power-ups that can be used. Most are gotten from the overworld, but do appear during the matches as well to be caught. You cycle through them and press A to load one up. Next time you serve the ball back, it's activated. They are very interesting. There is simple ones like Curve Ball or a Potion, which do what you'd assume. Others like a Buff Ball that will do extra damage when hitting your opponent. But many others are much more creative, like a Ghost Ball that disappears and then reappears right before exiting the screen, or spawning mushrooms on the field that reflect the ball back. The battles in the dungeons are broken up by some light puzzle fare. Nothing too major. You turn on lights in the dark, rearrange some flippers to redirect a ball to a goal. These are very short, so worth time investment. There's also side quests NPCs will give, like mapping out the entire floor or defeating all the monsters. These are not worth doing usually unless you're a completionist. You get plenty of items and XP anyway just moving through normally. The only reason to do these extra quests is to collect clothing to fill out the checklist. Finally, there is also vortexes you can find that bring you to a bonus stage where you do stuff like play Breakout. Entering these is a gamble, the time is tight and you can win great extras, but if you lose it takes half your money in items, and that hurts pretty bad. These bonus rounds do serve as a preview of the bosses, which are also super cool. They have giant health bars and all kinds of crazy abilities. I was pretty shocked when one of them spawned the bug from the game's Centipede. The foreshadowing for these bosses are cool too, cause in that dungeon is where the aforementioned mushroom power-up was. Anyone who has played the original game could recognize that connection upon seeing it. Finally, the game does have multiplayer modes, both local and online. Very few people online, of course. This game has a shockingly low 38 reviews on Steam. That brings me back to what I mentioned at the beginning. This is an official Atari published game that seemingly few are aware of, and this isn't the only one. There is more like Missile Command Recharged, Atari Mania, which is a WarioWare type game, and Haunted House remixed into a roguelike experience, all with almost no reviews. I hadn't even heard of most of these until recently. It appears Atari has been working with great indie developers to make these games, and you might think, well, that's why. But Atari is the publisher. A big job of a publisher is to do marketing. Why is Atari not doing anything to promote these? I sure hope they are paying the devs for their work properly and not going to leave them to go under, because the games are very fun. For the time being at least, this does leave Pong Quest as quite the hidden gem. Hey there, thanks for watching. If you'd like some more hidden gems, part 1 is on the screen. Or maybe if you'd prefer a deeper delve into an Atari game, here's also a video on the first 3D game ever, iRobot. Also, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell, it really helps. I'm also working on a retrospective for Lester the Unlikely currently. While it's thought of as a bad game, it has some brilliant aspects to it. Anyways, see you all in the next one. Stay safe out there.